Welcome back to what I think is part 5 of this simple 2-part video on putting power beyond on an 1855. And when we last left, we had gotten it excavated down far enough to see our bolt that decided to ruin our lives. So luckily there's enough sticking out that we have some choices of how to handle this. I possibly might weld a nut to it, but I'm thinking that I might first try to just heat it and see if I can gently turn it out of there, because that is going to be a much more controllable flame than just taking a welder and going bananas on it, because there's a lot of dirt and dried oil, and there's still a little remnant of oil down in the pan here. So I'm going to try it this way first, and then when I totally destroy that and ruin any chance of putting a nut on it, then we'll move on to the next thing. Oh, I think we might be getting it. It's loose. Just putting more progress. Now we're getting somewhere, I hope. Getting it. Progress made. Finally. She'll be coming around the mountain any minute. Come on. Now we're getting somewhere. I can see threads. I got a better place to clamp now. Come on. Oh, I think we got her. Oh, we got it! Yay! Well, we did it. After excavating down this far, we got our broken bolt out, and we didn't even have to use the drill. So, I think when I clean this up, I'm also going to maybe run the tap through the holes here real quick, just to be sure that we don't have anything that's going to cause this problem again, if we can help it. I'm waiting on gaskets. When we get that done, then we'll be ready to start putting back together. Really, nothing bad came out. So it's a few days later, and I'm still waiting on parts. But I thought I'd point out, I did look at this T-fitting, and it does turn out that it has been, at some point in its life, cross-threaded. So that's why I was having such a hard time getting it started in that other video. So I've ordered a new one of those, so that's going in. And in comments in the last video, people were flipping out about me saying I was going to leave that line crooked. And that was a lie. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to fix it somehow, some way. I'm going to get it to match up. Unfortunately, what that probably means is that my bracket I made is not going to work, and I'm going to have to start over. But we're going to go for it the right way, which also, another thing I said that I was going to do and am not going to is I'm going to go ahead and just replace that line that goes down to feed this T, because I don't like that, and I'm going to make it right. It's supposed to have a 45 on this end, and that will give me the clearance I need to adjust this and help with this leveling of this line. I also, the other day off camera, got these locks installed, so now our remotes should be held in place, and we got that part of it done. So while we're waiting on the gaskets and everything, we can start replacing some parts. The first thing I'm going to replace is this. I put this on years ago, and it's hard and brittle, and I think it's served its usefulness. If you have one of these tractors, it's supposed to have a cap over this. You can see it's got your spool inside there and this little fork. This actually has a drain hole in the bottom of it, so make sure that's not plugged or it'll sit there and hold water. So that should take care of that problem. Now we'll go get the hydraulic cover off, and we can put in the new hydraulic filter. We can check what we have to do as far as replacing some hoses I've got down there. So let's go get at that. So now we will take off the dreaded hydraulic cover, which got taken off one time and thrown in the scrap pile and nobody ever put back on, except for people like me who want them complete. So this is the hydraulic cover I got from that magical auction I went to. I told about in one of the videos. So we will get this off of here and wiggled out of there, and then we can work on our hydraulic filter and change some hoses down in here. Magic! It's kind of funny that it fell out of there, because usually you have to really maneuver to get it out, but anyway, that's off. Now we can see what we're working with here. And I've got this hose new, and I've got this hose up here new to change. And of course all the filter gaskets. It still looks awfully wet up high, and that's kind of concerning, but I guess we'll start with this and see where that takes us, and if we end up having to change more stuff later, so be it. I think first we'll probably get our line off of here so that I can take it along to town after a while. And here I was worried I wouldn't be able to remember how to clock the fittings when making the hose, but this one is permanently bent into the shape I need, so it should be a breeze. This one really hasn't been leaking too bad out of that fitting, but some of them just kind of continuously drip oil. I think they make now a solid piece, so I'll probably go with that if I can get it. But it may not be this time. I can always swap that out later on. Okay, so we got the hose out of there. The first one anyway. There's the part number if you need one. And I figured I'd start with this one because it seemed like the most difficult to get to. So we will transfer our clamps over, I guess, and try to get this one on there. We need to get the hose in here, and there's just enough room to get to the clamp for the back side there through the top, and then this one we can do out here wherever we can get to it. But we'll try to get this hose fished in there and tightened up, and then we'll move on to the next side. Well, I think that was the camera hitting the ground and breaking, so that's cool. So I think we got it in there. It's really nice when the rubber is pliable, so you can get it in, and now all we have to do is get the clamps tightened up. Sadly enough, I bumped into the GoPro, and my little magnetic mount, double side tape or whatever it was, has broken, so I don't know how we're going to position the camera till I get this glued back, but we'll figure something out. Okay, now I think we're on the right track. That seems tight. I ended up having to take my step off of here to get my fat self in here to work, but that's only 4 bolts, no big deal. We got that on and tight. Now we'll worry about this side, changing this hose, and I'm kind of hoping I can get it without messing with the other end, but that might be something I need to address too, because it looks like it's wet in this area, but it also looks like somebody's brazed it at one time, so we may end up pulling that off of there. I don't know. We'll see. We gotta get out the big boy tools now to get the line off of this filter, because I believe it is 1 7/8. So hopefully we got enough room in there to maneuver our wrench once it's in there. There you go, now you can kind of see it. Okay, come on. Come on. Making a mess. That's fine, we still got our bucket down here. It's not doing a lot, but it's down here. There. I was hoping I could pivot this up a little. Give myself more room to turn. But it doesn't look like it's going to want to play not. There we go. That's what I wanted. There. There we go. Okay. We'll lay that there. Now we'll take the hose loose again. Good. We'll drop some bolts. That's good. We want that. Then we'll try to get our filter housing off. While we're at it. So, there we go. Oh, as easy as 1, 2, 3, huh? How about that? Come off of there, buddy. It's not made in such a way that you can do this with it on the bracket, so we gotta take that loose. And it's a different size. So, you can't see anything I'm doing right now. That's really handy for you at home. But that's fine. You can enjoy the soothing sound of my voice, telling you how miserable this job has been, as it becomes one thing after another. All right, we'll get these off of here. There we go. A ground strap that was going nowhere. Probably should address that before we're done. Now, we can spin our filter housing tube. There we go. Let's have a look-see. I think our O-ring definitely can stand to be replaced. So, again, not wasted effort. We'll get this cleaned up a little bit in here and clean up our filter housing and everything before we put it back together. And then we'll be able to continue on with what we're doing. Okay, so we're back from our afternoon bus run, and I got the filter housing put back up in there, cleaned up this whole area as well as the filter bracket and the head, and meadow greenified this area a little bit because it was pretty well down to the primer. So I'm happy with that. We got our elbow hose put back on tight. Now we are ready to connect this hose. And I guess if you're needing one of these, there's the part number for that. So we will try to wiggle this in, get our tube put back, tighten it down, and then we're ready to put the hydraulic filter on. I got that O-ring changed around here, and you can tell a noticeable difference between the new one and the old one. The old one was pretty well flush with the outside, and that's why it was leaking. So we'll put this tube on and then filter and then see where we go from there. And how do I want to go about this? Should have probably put it on the other end first, but too late for that. Oh, we're on the way. Well, there we have it. Now we're ready for filter. I think that they could have been a little less stingy with this hose. It's awfully short, but I'm behind the barb on both of them, so it should be fine. They're tight. So now we'll go put the filter together, and then we'll put it up on here. Now, to put this together, there's several things we need to do in a very particular order. So the first thing is we're going to put this rubber gasket down here all the way to the bottom, because this will seal the bottom of our can. I like to put a little bit of grease on O-rings and stuff when putting it together, so we got a very thin layer of grease on there. Now we'll put the can on. Trying to do this one-handed. So we got our can. Now at the bottom, we first need to put this spring all the way down at the bottom of the can. Then there is a steel washer that needs to go down on top of that. And then on top of that, we've got a rubber ring, which will go down there against that washer. Then we will put our filter down in there, with the idea that hopefully the rubber ring is seated in the groove like on the top here. And then finally we will put this rubber washer, or whatever you want to call it, O-ring, square cut something. And then we should be ready to put this back on the tractor. Come on. Come on. I don't have any clean rags here. That was a mistake I made. I should have brought some down here, but we'll get through it. I suppose a guy could go get some, but no, that's a little too ambitious. So we'll get that tightened up. Well, that's on there. I was kind of worried that it was squeezing out this bottom gasket, but I'm hoping that it's fine. We'll know as soon as we put oil in it. I realize though we still need to tighten this back up, or it'll be a very sad story. So we better do that now before we forget. You see, this is one of those O-ring type fittings where you first thread it in and then you tighten the jam nut against it. So we put a new O-ring in. And this is gonna be a two-handed job because this wrench is so heavy. So hopefully this area will remain dry now and not be leaking. I think that I still need to put the drain plug in down here, and I better do that right now before I forget. I did get another line made to replace our homemade line to go up to our T-fitting. So I think I'll try to get that wiggled in there, and then we'll probably call it a day. I did get gaskets today for the cover, but I didn't get the new T-fitting, and I'm short a couple O-rings. So I think we'll probably call this the end of whatever part this is, 4, 5, 6. I think it's part 5. So, as always, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.